thanks for joining me on the podcast, finally. Obviously, for viewers, we work together, don't we?
Yeah.
You work at Peaple Talent.
Yeah.
So do you want to just introduce your role very briefly so people know who you are, why I've asked you on it, and then we'll go into like what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. So I work very closely with Ant as a senior account manager. So I've got a blended role of like candidate and client work.
Nice. So the reason I got you instead of one of my usual guests today is because I thought at this stage in the year, when people are reflecting, they've maybe set out their goals for the year, but they might actually be floundering by now. We're like mid-Feb. Is anyone sticking to their goals? It's a long year to think about, what do you want for yourself? What do you want for your professional development? And I thought it'd be really nice for you and I to discuss like what we see candidates doing in the market and what we advise are kind of some of the best things to do to reflect on your year and to make sure you get the most out of it professionally.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think you're a good person to talk to about it because you're very passionate about development and achieving goals and something that you love.
I am, yeah. We laugh, but I'm going to put a bit of context on that. I think people probably get it from my LinkedIn, but I'm very into like my gratitude, my well-being, my healthy mindset, and I'll be honest, I am quite often setting my crystals to my to-do list every day, aren't I?
Well, we love that in the mornings. We write a to-do list, put the crystals next to it.
So that is tip number one. But yeah, so we were looking at 2025 is the year of change.
Yeah, I know this is something that a lot of people bang on about every new year, but I think in Feb now it's kind of a good time to start thinking about whether you've put some goals in place, whether you're on the right track, and what you really want to get out of the year as well. I think a good way of breaking that down is evaluating whether the priority is to earn or learn.
Yeah, no, you're so right. From like a professional point of view, I completely agree. And I think that earn or learn, it's like, is this the year I'm going to make the big bucks and I'm going to get my head down and that is my driver that year? Or do I want to learn something? Do I want to develop my skill set? And, there's not necessarily a price on that, but you are leveling up skill set wise and knowledge wise. And I think you're always going to go through periods of your life where like a year of each kind is valid.
Yeah.
And it's not just, I've done my year of learning, now I'm progressing to earning, or, I'm in a whole period of earning. I think that's always going to fluctuate, and it will definitely fluctuate depending on the business you're in. So you'll probably find that, in the early part of your career, there's a lot of learning. You have to do the learning in order to earn and to be worth something to your employer. So you kind of got to evaluate, where am I in my career? Have I done that learning period? And am I now, at the peak of the role I'm in and the knowledge I have in that role? Because if I am, it probably is my earning year.
Yeah.
And we're in sales. So for us, we can control that quite closely. We know the more work we put in, the more we refine the work we put in, we're going to earn more. In other roles, they're probably capped to a certain salary and they don't know how they're going to get that next level of earning. So if it is your earning year, you kind of need to evaluate, how do I earn? Is it a salary? Is it a bonus? If you've got access to a bonus, then okay, the quality of work you put in this year is going to get you that percentage more. Do you have half-year pay reviews? Do you have yearly pay reviews? Okay, well, the work you put in is ultimately going to shine a light on you getting more at a certain point in that year. Or is it you make the most of what you are earning? You get your head down, you earn as much as you can in that year, but you also make your money work for you and you appreciate everything you get given, so that preparing yourself for the next year, you're that bit closer to, say, a promotion which is going to unlock another salary range, and you haven't kind of wasted that year that is always getting you closer to the next step.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and it's a good view to have, and I think lots of people have those thoughts, but I guess the tricky part is understanding what you need to do to make sure that happens, and who even is the right person to speak to within your organisation to ensure that that's the change that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're so right, because it's not just have an idea and it will happen. There has to be action. So I'd always say, like, it's really important to, let's say you're hoping for a promotion in some form, you want to progress to the next level of role. You might not know what that looks like. So something that's worked for me in the past, and I've had, people in my team that have done this, and it's kind of something that's a given you should do. I think you should kind of take the role you're in now and map out the skill sets and responsibilities, and then layer onto that a couple of roles that are the next progression plan. So it's the direct promotion or it's a sidestep promotion, and map those skill sets
So
out.
I guess like almost breaking down the bits that you really excel at within your role, and maybe the areas that you aren't quite so good in, but then aligning that to another role within the business, using those strengths to carry on growing.
Exactly that. It's like a skill sets matrix. Like, some businesses actually have these frameworks in place already.
Yeah.
And if they don't, like, you can do it yourself. But I'd say it's really important to highlight what are your motivators for work. So is it the money? Is it make an impact? I think I've got this on my mug. Make an impact. Is it helping people? Is it helping your community? There are certain drivers that you have for why you turn up to work and why you enjoy doing your job. And then you can look at the roles that you do within your job that give you that feeling. And those are the things you want to continue to do.
Yeah.
There'll also be aspects of your job that you bloody hate.
Yeah.
So if you hate those aspects of your job and the promotion above you means you do more of that, is the promotion right for you?
Yeah.
Is it going to make you happier? And are you saying you want the promotion just because you're programmed to like level up?
Yeah, and you want that new job title and you want the pay rise that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to look at, what do I believe in? What are my motivators for turning up to work? And what is going to enhance those and grow in those areas. Always make sure everything you're doing from a learning point of view factors into those areas that you love and you need to get better at.
And I think job satisfaction is really important. When we sit all the time as recruiters, people that will move on from their current role chasing the pay rise.
Yeah.
And they end up earning a lot more money, but they really don't enjoy the job that they're in. Absolutely. It's not worth it. You spend so much time at work. You need to love and be passionate about the work that you do.
Yeah. It's so true. We've seen it before, haven't we? Candidates that come to us with, say, like 20k more than what a role's paying.
Yeah.
And they're chewing our arm off for the role, and you think, why? This isn't going to land. You're not going to accept this job. Yeah. And actually they do, because they're saying, like, it's more than money, it's culture, it's value, it's my time back.
Yeah.
I want to see my family, whatever it might be. So we just spoke about like mapping out your skills.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think you mentioned like, how do you actually then action it? Who do you speak to? Like, naturally you want to make sure your manager's on board with all of this.
Yeah.
But it's also really good to get allies within the business, like director level, not just managers, and also learn from your peers and try and get information there.
I think there's nothing better than speaking to someone that's in the role that you want. Yeah. You get the first-hand experience from them, and you really get to understand kind of the ins and outs of it.
Absolutely. And one of the great things is like looking for a mentor or a coach. I've seen that work so often, kind of like, I see it quite a lot with like women in tech. Obviously we're in the tech industry.
Yeah.
A lot of my senior female candidates are really passionate about encouraging more and more females into the tech space so they go on to be mentors. And I think there's no better way, like you said, than learning from someone already doing the job.
Yeah, that's it.
So following on from that, like, it's important to have a mentor, but then thinking about the like learning, if it's your learning year, where do you get your learning from? I actually think it'd be interesting to know from you, Em, because you speak to a lot of candidates, and I get this idea that, well, I think everyone does. We're in the tech space, right? So in order to get anywhere in those roles, you need a computer science degree. You've got to go to university, and then you've done your degree and you're going to get an amazingly paid graduate job. And that company will know exactly how to progress you, and you'll be on the path to promotion every 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
No, I think it's an interesting point, because I think there's been quite a big shift recently, actually. Yeah. I think the expectation is, you have to go to university, you have to have all these qualifications to get into a role. But I think nowadays culture is so important to our clients as well. Yeah. And, you can't train on culture, but you can train on someone's technical skills. So I think there's been a big shift, and the expectation isn't really there to have had that solid educational background to get into a tech role, which I think is quite refreshing, because I think, it's not the path that everyone chooses. I know myself, I didn't go to university. Yeah. You still learn whilst doing the job, and I don't think you necessarily need that background to excel in a job.
Yeah. Yeah, you are so right. And like you said there about companies are hiring based on culture. So, you know, the candidate may have gained some skills at university or at college, or even I'm seeing a lot of like self-led projects.
Yeah.
They're doing their own learning at home, like home learning, and then they're building on that in a really practical way with their own labs at home and stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, like when you've got that base level skill, however you found it, the clients want to know, are you a good person?
Yeah.
Are they going to get on with you? And have you got those like fundamental skills to continue to learn?
Yeah.
Because they want to teach you, right?
And I think that's the important thing, is showing that you have the hunger to learn and to continue to grow.
Yeah. Because even though you said you didn't go to uni, I did go to uni. I'm not the finished article. I went to uni. Doesn't mean I learned it. I mean, I was doing a fashion degree.
Yeah.
What am I doing in recruitment? So I'd like to think my days of learning are not up.
Yeah. But it's just different learning. It's new learning. It's new things and new skills.
So true.
So I know obviously we've talked about internal promotions quite a lot, but you know, sometimes it does come to a point where there just isn't room to grow, or you want to try something new. You know, we say it all the time within tech. You know, there's so many transferable skills. The job title might not be exactly the same, but you might read a job description and think, do you know what, I actually tick 90% of these skills. The job title, yes, is a little bit different. There's some added responsibilities on there. But what's your advice on going for that and, you know, trying something a little bit new?
Do you know, you kind of touched on it there. I tick 90% of the boxes. It's actually reframing that. I think there's a statistic out there where females, us, we would actually only apply to a new role if we do tick 90%. Men, however, would kind of apply if they tick 50%.
Yeah.
So they already are programmed to kind of like believe in their core skills and know that whatever they're asking of me, I will do it. I will learn. I will move into that space and grow. So you need to take the leap. You need to apply and have some confidence. Obviously, the background work you've done to skill set map and look at where you're aspiring to, it's kind of doing the legwork you're going to start.
Yeah.
So once you've done that, you've then got to do the action of applying to those roles, and how you grow into those roles is going to come. So you've got to look at kind of, if you're comfortable now and you've reached that ceiling, you only know what you know in that role.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know the next role, but you will know. So you have to take the leap, and we kind of like, greatness comes at the edge of discomfort or something like that. Edge of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of put an emphasis on the home learning piece that we talked about as well.
Yeah.
Because I know we have some examples, don't we, of where, you know, we've placed candidates in, you know, completely different roles to what they've done previously, but the dedication and time that they put in outside of their day job is what helps them.
You and I worked on a role recently where we had a client looking for, they come to us with a cloud engineer. Typically, it's going to be a DevOps engineer. So this person would be already established, working on an Azure or an AWS. They're going to be doing containerization and automation. So we send a wealth of candidates with that skill set, right? And they, 10 years of doing this, they know they can bring that skill to the company and say, you're going on the cloud journey, here's what I can do for you. The hiring manager interviewed them and said, actually, I'm not convinced. Absolutely, they can do the job. But now I'm worried that, are they going to get bored in this job? Is the job enough for them? So we say, well, but that's the job you've got. So what else do you want? And actually, the client then reframed that and said, well, maybe what I need is somebody that is an infrastructure engineer,
wants to step into
and wants to take on the cloud bit, because then I've got something to offer them. I can go on the journey with them. So we went back to the market and we found exactly that. We found infrastructure engineers that have reached the ceiling. They know that. So a lot of these guys have done the work, guys and girls, they've done the work to say, I'm at the ceiling within an infrastructure role. What is next? Do I just become a principal? Do I become a manager? You don't want to let go of like the hands-on. So they don't always want to do line management.
No.
A natural progression for them can be, maybe they go architecture route, or maybe they go and they pick up more of the cloud stuff. So if your company isn't giving you that route to learn Azure or AWS or GCP, go and do it yourself. Like a lot of these engineers, they do that because they just don't have the infrastructure in place in their current company. And when they do that, it's then learning how to showcase that in an interview. Make the application for the role. You know you're doing the work in the background, and you know you've got the learning mentality to get to grips with it very quickly, and then you need to showcase that in an interview.
Yeah, I think that's quite refreshing to see, though, isn't it? That there are clients out there that are looking to help people make that jump as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. And in the interview, the thing that comes through, it's not, oh, you haven't got. Yeah. It's, we know there's a learning gap there, or there's a skill set gap.
Yeah.
But what you're showing to me is you've got the aptitude to learn. You've started the process on your own.
Yeah.
You're hungry, you're passionate. You're probably going to demonstrate that in the role. And we've got a journey to go on as a company to learn. So we can do that together.
Yeah.
And you'll give us so much more because you're getting so much more.
I actually feel like we've covered so much in that conversation. I guess it'd be good to break it down a little bit though. I guess what are the main takeaways from this?
Yeah, I think the takeaway is always do a health check of where you're at in your career.
Yeah.
How it aligns with your personal motivations, right? Who can you use as allies within your business?
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's so important. Like you and I are probably that to each other as well. And then you want an external impartial body, like seek a mentor, seek a coach. Reflect on the learning that you can do. It doesn't have to be formal training. It can be you go and you do it yourself. You create your labs or you do your own courses. But actually, we're forgetting you and I are recruiters, right? So we speak to candidates day in, day out. We have eyes and ears on the market and we know what clients want.
Yeah.
So if you're really hesitant, you're listening to this, what have you, give us a call. There's nothing stopping you pick up the phone. And I think candidates fall into the trap of, using us when they're live on the market.
Yeah, and I think that is the biggest thing is so many people will only engage with a recruiter when, they need a new job and they're ready to look. But I think starting those conversations early is so beneficial. Not only are you kind of getting an update of the market from our perspective, but you're building those relationships. So when it does come to the point that you're ready to move on, there's a lot less work to be done.
And don't you become someone's coach and cheerleader even? Like you think your candidates are your biggest advocate, but you're their biggest advocate.
Yeah.
You follow their career, you care how they do. And I think you just got a message this week from like an apprentice you placed a year ago that's celebrating his year anniversary with you. With a message to you saying thank you again.
Yeah. And I think it's moments like that are really important and you realise the impact that you've had as well.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on with me. I know I reluctantly dragged you on here, but you are a natural. It's been a brilliant conversation and actually it's given me food for thought. I think I'm gonna have you on again. So watch this space. Bowl.
Thirsty.
She was doing so well.
Come on.
I'm doing it on purpose now so you don't invite me back.
Yeah, brilliant.